So today we'll be looking at a hypothetical case study of someone who is 55 with $2 million in investments saved for retirement and determining whether they could realistically retire at that age. So over years of helping clients navigate early retirement with substantial savings and also some complexity, we've developed a specific method to determine whether retirement is feasible and what lifestyle it can support. That's exactly why we're making this video today, to show you the truth about retiring at 55 with $2 million and what it really takes to make early retirement work. Let's get right into it. We'll call this person David, a 55-year-old technology executive with $2 million accumulated across 401k, IRA, taxable investment accounts. Maybe they had a successful career in Silicon Valley. Having reached their mid-50s with pretty substantial savings, he's considering retiring early, but struggling to determine whether or not $2 million is enough to support his desired lifestyle for maybe another 40 years. So while this is a hypothetical case study, we've worked with tons of folks over the years that have had a pretty similar situation. And what I think is interesting about this type of profile is that, in this case study, is that typically they're very intelligent, they've done very well, really understand the basic math and the system here, but they don't have a process to create and monitor the plan that they really need. They don't have a way to stress test it, and they're really concerned about whether or not they have any blind spots when they approach this because they don't want to do the, start-stop thing in retirement. And so in this case, despite his impressive savings, he's concerned, like many folks are, about early withdrawal penalties, healthcare costs, and he's got a good while before Social Security and Medicare become available to him, things he should be concerned about. Between various retirement strategies, tax considerations, lifestyle questions, all this stuff comes together. He thinks he can maybe retire on $2 million, but maybe not sure, and wants to figure out whether or not he can keep working. I think the key problem is that despite accumulating $2 million, which by age 55 is great, he doesn't have a system to determine whether or not this is enough to get to retire early, given the unique challenges of retiring 10 plus years before retirement benefits or healthcare benefits become available. He may be like you, he's struggling to understand if his savings can really bridge that gap. And how do we do it in a tax efficient way? Can those assets sustain it if there are prolonged market downturns? Maybe you feel like you're in a similar situation with this person that we're talking about. Maybe you've saved substantial money, maybe more, but you're really not sure about whether or not retirement's feasible. I want to encourage you, click the link below. We've created a detailed video that shows exactly how to optimize your retirement strategy and even, get a sense of whether or not planning for retirement with a professional makes sense for you. So this situation, again, is a case study, but let's talk through it. So David remains in a high-stress tech career, despite having built substantial wealth and probably experiencing some burnout because it feels like he's unable to commit to early retirement. Doesn't want to start-stop, remember. He's kind of driven by his lack of confidence that $2 million, which is a great amount of money, can actually sustain him through maybe 4+ decades of retirement. And each month he delays that decision, he wonders, is he unnecessarily postponing his dream of retirement when he could be enjoying what he's worked so hard for? But he's not sure he can make the leap without understanding whether his savings are truly sufficient for potentially, a pretty long retirement period. So we've seen kind of the way that David feels about this. Let's get a sense, and we have a sense of what he's going through. Let's look at how to break down how we think about whether he can retire at 55, even with $2 million, and how you can run the same kind of analysis for your situation as well. So let's walk through the exact kind of questions that we ask folks, just like David, and why these questions really, really matter as the framework to success. So the first is, how are you going to access retirement funds before 59 and a half without triggering penalties? We'll need to determine how much liquidity is actually available. The next question is, can $2 million realistically cover 40 plus years of expenses when there's no pension or government benefits potentially for quite a while? Longevity and inflation assumptions in this situation become really, really critical. In my plan, I go to age 100 because I'm not willing to have any problems when you're 90, 95 if we didn't plan for that long, right? Now, what happens if you get seriously ill at 57? You need expensive medication or treatment. You may not have employer health insurance at that time. So how do we bridge the healthcare gap that can be a really big risk area that sometimes, even believe it or not, people forget about. Now, how much of your $2 million becomes untouchable, at least temporarily, due to early withdrawal restrictions and tax concerns? Do we have the right investments in the right tax buckets? And also, what's the plan if the market crashes, like it has done historically, in the first few years of retirement? Another way to say this is, what's the plan to manage sequence of returns risk that can really derail early retirees pretty quickly if we don't have a plan to get through it? Many early retirees underestimate how much they actually spend. So how do we model what you're actually going to spend? And figuring out how to do that is essential to match your expectations to reality. These are the exact issues that we work through with folks just like David, and answering them really helps to shape a much clearer picture of what is and isn't possible. Now, our hypothetical person, David, can he retire at 55 with $2 million? Potentially, yes, but not without a plan that addresses these key issues. Number one, a tax-efficient withdrawal strategy. In our view, using a blend of tax-deferred, taxable, and tax-free or Roth assets is critical. Next, number two, what's the plan for healthcare coverage until Medicare at 65? Is it through ACA or COBRA? Is it some other off-market alternative? Number three, how do we model safe withdrawals? How do we stress test against historic market volatility and inflation? How do we know we have the right investments in the right accounts? And what's the clear adjusted spending expectation based on the goals currently and on your future goals? How do we build an asset allocation that supports growth without taking too much risk or not enough risk, especially in the early years of retirement? And kind of what's the backup plan? What if these things don't work? Are you going to delay some major purchases, maybe put off some vacations? Do you really want to? How comfortable are you making adjustments? So once we work through these things, what we found was that David could really probably finally evaluate early retirement with clarity. And it wasn't just about the number, the $2 million number. It was, what could he actually realistically do with that money? How much income could that portfolio support across 30, 40 plus years? So now that you've seen the truth about retiring at 55 with $2 million, you can begin to understand that while it's possible, it really requires careful planning, lifestyle consideration, in my view, some realistic expectations about whether this level of wealth can support an overextended early retirement. So if you need help determining whether early retirement is viable for your specific situation, click the link below. We've created a detailed video that walks you through how to think about this process, the framework for determining whether you're actually ready to retire, and how you can make some more informed decisions. And I want to encourage you, don't wait until it's too late. You may be able to retire earlier than you think. Don't miss that opportunity. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.